Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Spacing Out. I'm Maureen Elsberry.
And I'm Alejandro Rojas. Thank you for joining us.
We're here to get you caught up on the news, so here are some of the UFO stories that have made headlines recently. Polls about UFOs and extraterrestrials are quite common and seem to have grown in popularity in recent years. Almost all of these polls will reveal that people believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life.
This is also true of the latest poll dealing with aliens. But this poll also reveals that more Brits believe in aliens than they do in God.
This poll, conducted by Ripley's Believe It or Not London, found that out of 1,500 adults polled, more than half believe in aliens, whereas only a quarter said they believe in God. 64% of the 500 kids polled said they believe in aliens, whereas 33% said they believe in God. And surprisingly, 26% of these kids actually believe that aliens are not only here on Earth, but are also disguised as humans.
Ripley's Believe It or Not London General Manager Natasha Crump says, according to the results, it's clearly not just children who have an open mind when it comes to other life forms and keeping an open mind.
She continues, we live in the age of science and turn to it for most of our answers, but the results show that many of us still hold belief in things that might exist outside of our world and beyond our understanding.
A recent brief observation of Saturn's moon Titan revealed unusual groupings of organic molecules in the atmosphere.
Scientists made the discovery while observing Titan's atmosphere using the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, or ALMA, in Chile's Atacama Desert. A single 3-minute observation revealed organic molecules that are askew in the atmosphere of Titan. Universe Today explains, the molecules in question should be smoothly distributed across the atmosphere, but they are not.
A National Radio Astronomy Observatory press release calls this a potentially groundbreaking discovery. Universe Today points out that when one hears there is a strange, skewed combination of organic compounds somewhere, the first thing to come to mind is life. So far, researchers don't have an obvious explanation for the discovery, but they are exploring other possible causes.
These ALMA observations give us new insights into how organic molecules, the building blocks of life, form and evolve into a planet-like environment, says astronomer Anthony Regin of the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. It is exciting to imagine the new discoveries ALMA will enable as we look more deeply at other interesting objects in our solar system.
The research on these unexpected variations in Titan's atmosphere was published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. Another powerful tool in the hunt for extraterrestrial life, the European Extremely Large Telescope, EELT, is currently under construction and is also in Chile's Atacama Desert.
This tool will be the world's largest optical and infrared telescope when it is completed in 2024, and it will have the ability to directly image exoplanets and study the atmosphere of planets, helping scientists identify worlds that may support life as we know it.
In 1989, Bob Lazar came forward to assert that he had worked on reverse engineering alien technology at a secret facility in Nevada called S4 that was built into a mountainside just south of Area 51's main site.
The world was introduced to Bob Lazar and Area 51 by KLAS investigative reporter George Knapp, who interviewed Lazar about his claims. Now, 25 years later, both Knapp and Lazar will be reuniting for a special appearance at the world's largest annual UFO conference, which is the International UFO Congress.
The assertions made by Lazar are well-known staples in UFO lore, and they served as a catalyst for Area 51's rise to pop culture prominence. He alleges that he was expelled from working at Area 51 after it was discovered that he had told friends where they could watch test flights of advanced extraterrestrial technology on which he was working.
Although many believe Lazar's assertions, critics dismiss his claims, citing a lack of supporting evidence, including the absence of employment and education records. But Lazar, who asserts the government erased his records, stands by his claims. Knapp and Lazar reunited in May 2014 on the 25th anniversary of their first interview. Lazar's story remains the same now as it was when he told it 25 years ago. Although he has his critics, Lazar recently told Knapp that he really doesn't care if anyone believes him or not. He isn't trying to convince anyone, and he has tried to leave UFOs in his past.
In their recent interview, Lazar, who currently runs a scientific equipment and supply store in Michigan with his wife called United Nuclear, explains to Knapp, "This is not a business of mine. I am trying to run a scientific business, and if I'm the UFO guy, it makes it really difficult. It is to my benefit that people don't believe the story."
Although he has largely avoided speaking about his Area 51 experiences in public, both Lazar and Knapp will appear at the International UFO Congress in Fountain Hills, Arizona on Saturday, February 21st. Now, Knapp's going to present a lecture followed by an hour-long question and answer session with Lazar. All of the event's information is at ufocongress.com.
A former senior scientist at Lockheed Martin says there are aliens and UFOs at Area 51, and he has the pictures to prove it. However, serious doubt has been cast on the alleged alien in the pictures.
Boyd Bushman worked for over 40 years as an engineer, and before retirement worked as a senior scientist for Lockheed Martin. Over the years, he has done several interviews about his interest in anti-gravity technology and is increasingly alluded to having secret knowledge about UFOs. His latest interview was purportedly conducted just before his death on August 7, 2014. It was posted to YouTube on October 8th.
Bushman's first appearance was on a Discovery Channel documentary about secret aircraft technology hosted by Nick Cook, author and writer for Jane's Defense. Cook was investigating whether anti-gravity technology actually exists, but could not find any defense companies claiming to be working on it. However, there was one engineer willing to talk to him. That was Bushman. In the documentary, Cook says of Bushman, "In the quest for breakthroughs in aircraft propulsion, it was Bushman's job to look beyond the frontiers of what is known and understood."
Bushman talks about his personal interest in anti-gravity and in particular the work of Canadian researcher John Hutchinson. He even showed Cook video of what he believed to be anti-gravity technology at work. Cook said, "I was astounded that someone of Bushman's standing should seriously discuss the notion of anti-gravity with me." Then in 2007, Bushman showed up in a somewhat obscure documentary by David Sereda titled From Here to Andromeda. In it, Bushman discusses more of his ideas on UFOs and anti-gravity.
Bushman talks about his anti-gravity experiments, and he refers to Bob Lazar, the original Area 51 whistleblower, who claims to have worked on a project back engineering alien spacecraft. Bushman says he received Lazar's tapes from the white world so he can share them. He doesn't go into any more detail. Lazar's interviews and a video he made outlining the technology he worked on can be found on YouTube, so Bushman does not allude to having any inside information. He also says many UFOs were actually high-tech secret aircraft. However, towards the end of the interview, he claims to know a jet fighter pilot that claims to have been the person who shot down the Roswell spacecraft. He says this person saw dead aliens and walked into the spaceship.
In the most recent video, he does not claim to have direct contact with the alleged alien-related projects, but instead, he says he is working with a team. Bushman says he is in contact directly or indirectly with Teller and his group running Area 51 and the equivalent. Another vague statement which does not admit to being in direct contact, and it also suggests that some of his alleged work is in a facility equivalent to Area 51. Either way, Bushman presents UFO photos he has received, some of which are ships that are purportedly very near the photographer, but are difficult to make out. He shows a picture of an out-of-focus light that he says is what the craft look like when they power up.
Bushman says, "I asked them to tell me about who is flying these things, and they said fine." He then presents a series of photographs of an alleged alien being. It looks like what one would expect an alien to look like, with a big head and big eyes. He says they have 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 eyes, and webbed feet. He explained they are approximately 5 feet, 4.5 to 5 feet tall. They had 1 or 2 of them that were around that were 230 years old, and we have a total of at least 18 that exist and operate in our facility as Teller set it up.
However, there is a problem with the pictures that was actually identified years ago. The pictures were first posted by Hutchinson, the anti-gravity researcher in Canada, that Bushman referred to in the Cook interview. Hutchinson posted them in 2008 and says he received them anonymously by a man he believed to be in the CIA. Quickly, several people identified the images as looking like an alien doll that was sold at Kmart. Many of these people have posted their pictures online, and it does look like the same alien.
At least a couple people have suggested that perhaps the government made a doll to sell in Kmart that looked exactly like the real alien in order to shed doubt. It's a bit of a stretch. Others still insist that although the doll looks very similar, it is not exact, and so the alien in the picture may still be real. Take a look and see what you think.
The other problem is that these pictures supposedly came from Bushman's insiders, but they actually came from Hutchinson. Hutchinson is by no means an insider, and the alien in the picture is actually turning out to be a doll sold at Kmart further emphasizes that point.
Bushman goes on to reveal more information about the aliens. He says there are two groups, one good and one bad. He also shows a picture of their alleged home planet. He even shows a picture of what he believes to be an alien ghost. Supposedly, one of the aliens died, and the man who told him this story took a picture of himself in which the alien spirit appeared.
Bushman goes on to tell the story of a friend who shot down an alien craft and stepped inside, and also says many people have died working on alien technology. Like so many stories in the UFO field, Bushman's is enigmatic. The whole affair could easily be written off as the delusional ramblings of an old man. The only thing that causes one to pause is Bushman's background.
Why would a high-level scientist begin making up such wild stories? Did he actually work with Teller, and did he ever go to Area 51? Or were these all tall tales told to him that he believed wholeheartedly?
It's hard to say, but there's a lot of red flags in this story.
Yeah.
And for me personally, especially when you have these pictures of this alien that are clearly very similar, if not exactly the same to the Kmart doll, and then going on into the alien spirit photos. And then one big thing is you even emailed Bob Lazar to see if he knew Bushman.
Yeah, so what had happened is I've been following Boyd Bushman for a long time, actually. And in 2008, I received from a UFO researcher who I believe I trust, who said they got this alleged polygraph test that Boyd Bushman had taken. And she forwarded it to me from Boyd. And it had all of these questions, including that he supposedly knew Bob Lazar and he worked at Area 51, which is another red flag because his story is not necessarily consistent through the whole time. And so just recently, yesterday in fact, I did ask Bob Lazar, did you really know him? And Bob Lazar, his response was, there weren't many people at S4, and I do not recognize his name. I didn't know him. Of course, the whole existence of S4 is very controversial.
Right.
So it's a weird story. Things don't seem to fit together. But of course, this guy was really a senior scientist for Lockheed Martin. So it's so weird.
Now, and this is the thing, is we have on our website this alleged polygraph test that I had copied and pasted to you some spelling errors. And somebody else noticed it as well. And now I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I don't know if you were typing it out and screwed that up or whether that's in the actual document.
That was a straight cut and paste. So those spelling errors are in the document.
So his family had no clue what he was doing.
Yeah, which is one of the misspellings. Yeah. Glue instead of clue. But yeah, exactly. So that's another great point. Some other people have pointed out that for polygraph tests, you don't ask, a dozen questions or so. You don't ask that many questions. There aren't true and false results. So a lot of people have a problem with the polygraph. But there's lots of different pieces of this that are being picked apart. Some people are suggesting that Boyd Bushman is just was fed this information and he believed it. So he's not necessarily a liar. It's just he's trying to put forth information he doesn't know firsthand.
Right, and that's all possible, or it's possible that some piece of his story is real, and over the years, as you get older, it kind of morphed into this bigger thing he believed. Yeah. It's really hard to stay. And there have been more than one deathbed confessional thing happening lately, and a lot of people wonder, why does this happen? They finally were like, I'm getting this off my chest. This is all true. Good luck with this information I give you. Or B, why not? I'm about to die. Let's have a little fun.
Well, it's funny, too, because people call these deathbed confessions, and there's a couple inaccuracies in some of the stories other big news agencies are reporting. But I don't know that Bushman believed he was going to die. What's funny, too, is you mentioned other recent ones, the CIA guy. He's still alive, so that wasn't even necessarily deathbed either, although he was saying he thinks he's going to die. The other thing is they're calling Boyd Bushman an Area 51 engineer, but as we see in his statements, he never said he worked at Area 51, so that's another issue. But speaking of big news outlets, this story's really blown up and gone viral, and everybody's covering it now.
It's good
weird.
for people to do more research into it, I guess, as much as we can.
That's for
but
sure.
Another controversial claim, obviously, is, and we're really excited about this, is finally got confirmation that we will have Bob Lazar at the conference. And this is enormous. He does not speak at UFO conferences. He is doing so reluctantly. He's
Right. He doesn't like speaking at UFO conferences, but we're good. We have a great relations with George Knapp, who he works with. And George Knapp's point and ours was, it seems like you really just want to clear everything up, all of the questions that people have. Coming to this conference gives you the opportunity to answer the questions people want and kind of be done with it once and for all. And so I think he's also going to find, though, that he's got a lot more supporters in this field than maybe he realizes.
Yeah, most definitely, and it is controversial. We're giving people the opportunity to submit questions to us to ask Bob Lazar during the Q&A, and you have to do that in advance because we're not just going to let anybody get up to the mic and ramble on for an hour.
Won't be an open mic.
Yeah, so please do so. You can email us at contact@openminds.tv with your questions, and we will compile all the really pertinent good ones and hopefully get some interesting answers.
It's going to be great.
And by the way, off the subject, and you can go to ufocongress.com to book your tickets in advance because Saturday will sell out. But it's Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
So we made sure to have an appropriate story for you to fit the holiday. Here with that is Jason McClellan.
Players and fans at a football match were shocked and perplexed when UFOs moved slowly over the stadium. This incident occurred back on October 27, 1954, in Florence, Italy. 10,000 fans were packed into the stadium for the match. Then, just after halftime, the crowd fell silent as the unidentified objects appeared over the stadium. Even the players stopped and gazed at the unusual aerial objects. One player recalls, "It was something that looked like an egg that was moving slowly, slowly, slowly. Everyone was looking up, and also there was some glitter coming down from the sky, silver glitter." He continues, "We were astonished. We had never seen anything like it before. We were absolutely shocked." Other witnesses described seeing multiple cigar-shaped UFOs that were moving very fast, and then they just stopped. At the time, the newspaper spoke of aliens from Mars, says Roberto Pinotti, president of Italy's National UFO Center. Of course, now we know that is not so, but we may conclude that it was an intelligent phenomenon, a technological phenomenon, and a phenomenon that cannot be linked with anything we know on Earth. The material witnesses saw falling from the sky when the UFOs were present is a strange sticky substance that has been reported in other UFO cases and is most often referred to as angel hair. According to the BBC, multiple witnesses collected samples of this material and delivered it to the Institute of Chemical Analysis at the University of Florence. Spectrographic analysis revealed that it contained boron, silicon, calcium, and magnesium. Aside from its composition, though, researchers were unable to determine what it was. But one person claims he can explain this angel hair stuff and the 1954 UFO sighting with one word: spiders! James Magaha, astronomer and director of the Grasslands Observatory in Tucson, Arizona, comments, "When I looked at this case originally, I thought perhaps it was a fireball, a very bright meteor breaking up in the atmosphere. They can be cigar-shaped with pieces breaking off, but it became fairly apparent that this was actually caused by young spiders spinning webs, very, very thin webs." He explains that migrating spiders use these webs as sails and they link together and you can get a big glob of this stuff in the sky and the spiders ride on this to move between locations. Magaha is a noted skeptic who relishes the opportunity to explain away any and all UFO sightings because, after all, the UFO phenomenon is nothing but myth, magic, and superstition, according to him. If you've never seen spiders migrating through the sky, check out this creepy video from Brazil. Pinotti disagrees with the spider theory for a variety of reasons. He points to the analysis done on the angel hair. The BBC points out, spider silk is a protein, an organic compound containing nitrogen, calcium, hydrogen, and oxygen, not the elements reportedly found in the samples. Philip Ball, a science writer and a fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry, agrees that the spider theory is thin. Magnesium and calcium are fairly common elements in living bodies, boron and silicon much less so. But if these were the main elements that the white fluff contained, it doesn't sound to me as though they'd come from spiders, he explains. Oh yeah, and then there were the 10,000 witnesses who watched these UFOs moving very fast and then they just stopped. It's unlikely that the 60-year-old mass UFO sighting mystery will ever definitively be solved, and based on witness testimony and scientific analysis, it's also unlikely that spiders are a realistic possibility. But it makes for a good Halloween story.
That's all for this episode of Spacing Out. Please visit our website, openminds.tv, for all the latest UFO news. Also, don't forget to register for the 2015 International UFO Congress, and that's the largest annual UFO conference in the world, and it takes place in February 18th through the 22nd in Fountain Hills, Arizona. You can find all that information at ufocongress.com.
Let us know if you enjoyed today's episode by liking the episode on YouTube and leaving us your comments in the section below. You can also download our podcast, Open Minds UFO Radio, on iTunes or at openminds.tv/radio. Thanks again for joining us today. I'm Alejandro Rojas.
And I'm Maureen Elsberry. We'll see you in the future.